Many of you might be facing financial hardships or have fallen on difficult times and are living life with these kinds of troubles. Luckily, for the people who have fallen, who don't have anything or have lost everything, Atomy has not only become a ray of hope, but also the ladder for social mobility. So it is quite rewarding and something I'm proud of. Being able to learn about Atomy during those hard times has become a turning point for them, and that has been a very important moment for them. Anyway, almost everyone lives their life trying to become successful, yet for some reason the majority fails to do so. Generally, only 1% of the population becomes the rich people, and 4% of the people become financially independent, and the remaining 70% have no job or money in their retirement. So, why does the majority fail after everyone does their best to succeed? The biggest reason why this happens is because people do not know the success principle, law of success. This is just like the North principle. This is fixed. Thus, you can achieve success if you follow this law and fail if you don't. This is similar to the law of the nature and law of farming. Therefore, when you looked at what a farmer had to do first, you had to envision how much and of what would be harvested. For example, if the farmer wanted 20 bags of rice, he would be able to determine the size of the rice paddy, when he would have to plant, what equipment was needed, and the number of workers that would be necessary. Any decision the farmer had to make would be based on these 20 bags of rice. If the farmer had wanted to harvest 2 bags of beans, that decision would become the principle, the threshold. So he will make all the decisions about the farming to plant, harvest. So essentially, he would have everything in his mind based on the final goal. Likewise, when we deal with the farm of life, we also need to envision and picture what our life will be like in the future, whether that is 3, 5, or 20 years from now. Once we determine that in our mind, we would need to make decisions based on this this image. As such, we would need to see ourselves successful. But defining success can be a very complicated matter because we as human beings are complex to begin with. We all have something called flesh. However, this flesh isn't our entirety. Within our flesh, we have a spirit and soul. Although we use spirit and soul as synonyms together, but they can actually be differentiated. We're also surrounded by the environment. We don't live alone, right? In some ways, we can picture our flesh as the house that the spirit and soul live in. Now, the flesh has things that it desires. Our flesh wants to be healthy, live a long life, and have a luxurious as well as plentiful life. We can summarize these desires as live well, as to live well. It's very difficult to distinguish the spirit from soul, and animals don't have spirit because our conscience is part of spirit. Furthermore, we don't have the ability to fully control. How nice would it be for a thief if they don't really have conscience? Don't do it, telling him, don't do it. So to a thief, this conscience becomes a trouble. The spirit also encompasses the concept of time. In the Bible, it says that He has also set eternity in the human heart. Now, animals do not have this yearning. When we grow old, we worry. Oh, my life is coming to an end. What did I do with my life? Everyone is troubled with these thoughts, right? Due to our spirit, we have a conscience and the concept of time. Furthermore, we desire to love and to be loved. Our soul has different things. Our emotions are part of our soul. We have various feelings, right? Our soul wishes to live a peaceful life. Therefore, if we live a life, if we hate some other people, if we get angry, then our emotions also get worse. We crave for knowledge. This is about to learn. And our environment can be divided into social and natural ones. And this is about we have the desire to contribute to both areas, to both environments. Essentially, we want to make great impact to the environment. And when the four desires are satisfied, we can say that our life has become successful, and you need to have that future in your mind. Again, your goal needs to be a balanced life. Let's say together, balanced life. Balanced life means to live well, to love, to learn, and to contribute in life. You need to have these four conditions in your balanced life goal. Now, these four conditions are not independent of each other. Rather, they are all actually interconnected. Actually, the reason why you need to live well is due to the fact that you have the people whom you love. I married my life because I loved her very, very much. I teased her for almost a year. While we were living well, I decided to leave my job of 17 years because I felt that it didn't prepare me for retirement. I started my business in IT industry, which was blossoming at that time. There was a problem. It was too ahead of time, thus I went completely bankrupt within 3 years. My house and car got repossessed. I even moved into a small rental and lived there for 3 years. Now, when a business goes under, the owner can sometimes become seriously ill. So I developed the liver disease and my diabetes got worse. My doctor friend told me he couldn't help and sent me to a bigger hospital. While we were living in a small venture for 3 years, my doctor friend told me you shouldn't work. And I told them, how can I not work because I have children? But I still remember what he said. It's better to live a life and poor than being a dad. So after I heard this, I couldn't work. My wife, who was in her 50s, had to suddenly find a job. And the best job she could find and only earn 1.2K a month. It was an extreme lifestyle. With the onset of this difficult financial situation, my wife and I began to argue often, even though we loved each other before. Many people say that they get a divorce due to difference in personality, but that is because of the money issues. Essentially, people have a good personality if they have money, but a bad one if they don't have money. For the ladies here, if you had a husband who earn like 20K dollars every month, do you feel like you have the differences in the personalities between you? I don't think so. Everyone loves those spouses who earn a lot of money. In any case, these arguments created another problem. Actually, I think it was the cause of the issue. One day, the house seemed very cold when I arrived. So I told my wife, honey, don't save money when you don't have any. My wife told me, I'm cold too. You don't think that I'm cold as well. My wife was a person of a few words and didn't say anything else, but it meant if you had made enough money, I would be able to turn up the heater. How can you tell me if it's cold or not when you don't earn money? Actually, some people actually say these things, but my wife don't. She just says, I'm freezing too. Basically, I had to figure out everything else she wanted to say. I should have known, but said, honey, just turn on the heater. Don't save money when you don't have anything. When you don't have anything, when you try to save money, you cannot save a lot. In a small rental, it is a little cold if you spend $120 for the heater, but if you add to $50, then it'll become warmer. But in order to save this $50 and every year 250 and 3 years, I spent very cold days for 3 days to only save $750. It's better not to save money, but there are a lot of people who try to save this small money. When you should save money, you should save your money when you earn a lot of money, but people do the opposite things.
So a lot of people don't know the concept of money because they think that earning more means you have to work more. So when you ask people how much do they want to earn, they will say, I would like to earn maybe 3K to 4K each month. But actually, it doesn't mean that if you earn more, then you have to work more. So let's say there are four people earning 1K, 3K, 30K, and 300K every month. So who are the most difficult one? Of course, the 1K. So how much should you earn? We should earn 30K each month because when you ask the people, the rich people, what's your job? What do you think about your job? They will say that there ain't no thing as interesting as earning money because earning money is so easy. So you have to imagine yourself earning 30 to 70K every month. So I know although you guys are clapping and smiling, but within you you'll be thinking, it's okay, I still want to earn only 3K. I'll be really happy with that. And also decide your expense first. And then find a job that can fit your expense. So basically, you need to list how you like to spend money. Then you realize that earning 3K or 7K wouldn't be enough. If you want to live a decent life, 70K, 7K a month is too little. For example, we want to take good care of our parents who raise us up, but we cannot just send them $200 or $300 because they need a lot of money. They need to spend a lot of money when they are old. They at least need 3K a month because they have to go to the hospital, they have to hire a health carer, and then our parents won't ask us for money, but still we need to be responsible for their living expense. So when you write all these expenses down, you realize that it takes a lot of money actually. So instead of budgeting your expense based on your income, you should decide your expense first. And you have to figure out how much you need. And don't worry if that amount seems too much, because it's more easier to earn a higher income. So just don't think about anything else, just write all your expenses down first. So going back to my story, my wife and I started to get into different kind of fights. When I told her not to save money, we should use more money, and she says, "We are in this mess because you think like that. Because you don't want to hear what I said. You don't believe me." And there was a day my wife told me, "Honey, let's divorce when our kids graduate." And my wife, he, he's very serious. She's very serious. So when I heard her say this, I dropped on the ground and I grabbed her leg and began to cry. Hey, I say I was starting to cry. Why are you guys laughing? So I went out crying and I told her, "Don't leave me. If you leave me now, you don't have a house to live and you don't have retirement fund. How will you survive the rest of your life? Just wait until I can buy you a house and I put enough money into your bank account. Then, if you still want to get divorced with me, then let's get divorced at that time." So I cried like this for about 20 to 30 minutes. And my wife stared at me and say, "When on earth?" So since then, now I bought her a really nice house and I gave her more than enough retirement fund and I told her, "You don't have to ask me. You just use this money on whatever you want." I gave her everything and now she never mentioned anything about divorce anymore. So even for people in love, they will face hardship when they runs into financial difficulties. So this is important for you to live well because you have our loved ones. We need to live well because of them. And in order to live well, you must learn. And as you learn, you discover how to love and you find out how to earn money. And when you earn enough money, it's important to contribute to your environment. So we can really feel love when you start to contributing in donation. So in Atomy, the first paycheck I got was 2K, and I tried to do donates to a school, but I told them I only have $200. I don't know if they want that like small amount of donation, but they told us that was plenty because there are some students who cannot buy food, buy lunch. So we start from $200 and we increase it into 1K, 2K, 100K. So it's really important to contribute and to help the others. So not only when you're rich, because if you want to help people when you're rich, it's already too late. We need to start helping people when we are not that rich. Then make it a habit. Then when you become rich, you will helping more people. So help your friends, then your neighbors, and so forth. So when these four conditions overlaps and harmonize, it will generate a real passion in your heart. So actually, it's really hard to design your dreams and design the kind of ideal life you want, right? So we need to make it into a movie. So just think of what kind of house you want to live in, what kind of car you want to drive, who you want to be with, and all these things that you want. You have to visualize the dreams into a movie. So today, all of you are going to write something called life scenario. So this is a scenario of the movie about what kind of life you want. So there are some forms in the booklet, and there are a big circle and 8 small circles around. So what should we do now is to put these 4 conditions into these circles. For example, when we say live well, which means that we want to be healthy, we want to live a long life, and we want to live a sufficient life. So then we have to write down something like health because we cannot live a long life if we are not healthy. And to live a sufficient life, it means the basic needs of life. But most of us, clothing is already taken off, it's easy to take care of. And we actually have more extra clothes, too much clothes at our home. And food, we have like eaten too much food, right? So the problem left is housing. So put your housing into their life scenarios. And nowadays, cars are essential as well. So write it down. And after that, you have to evaluate your current life. For example, health. Okay, so within the large circle, there are some markings here, and you're naturally healthy, then you can give yourself 5 out of 10. So just put the dot within the chart. And then house. So can you tell me about your house? Okay, so how big is your house? 1,000 square feet. Do you like it? Oh, really? You don't want a bigger one? Okay, so I'll put 10 points here. Are you sure? Isn't like living in such kind of house your life goal? What about a 250 square feet house? It was fine, right? So maybe I can put on 5 marks here. So for like filial duties, are you doing good now? So your children's, are they learning well? Voluntary, zero, travel zero, cash zero. It could be a negative. So after doing that, you need to connect these dots, and this will become your current life wheel. So if you have a small and a very irregular wheel, which means that your life is not going very well. So in order to get a perfect life wheel, you need to meet 10 points for each of these criteria. So how can we achieve a perfect life? Then you have to write down these details in the box besides. So when you write it, you have to write it smart. As such, you need to be specific, which means that these goals have to be countable. So instead of writing down just a nice house, you need to write down how big it was, or how many bedroom it includes, or like is it a 3 or 4 level house. So write these details down. And then you have to set the budget. So how many money do you need for the house? So write down the exact amount. And lastly, it's also important to write down the deadlines. So don't write down like 5 years later, because people always says 5 years later, 5 years later, and they never really do things ever. So write down the exact date, like which year, which month, and you have to write these life scenarios smart. Be specific. So when we talk about house, then we can write 2,500 square feet apartment. It would be better if you can write down the address. Then we write down the cost, the budget, how much it cost. So it depends on the location. It could be 500K or even $1 million. In a place like New York, it could be more than 3 million. So let's say 1 million now. Then we need to write down the deadline. And for a car, I heard someone wants a Benz. So which model? S class, E class, C class, A class. So if you don't know that, you can buy a car. So let's say the S500. The budget maybe 180K. So the deadline, when are you going to buy it? 2025. Okay, so after seeing the deadline, so it's done. So for video duties, you might want to give 200, like 2K to 3K living expense to your parents each month. And for your children, so let them do whatever they want. If they don't like studying, don't force them to do it. So for volunteering, it's really important to be specific. For me, I have made up a really detailed plan and I followed my plan step by step. So if you want to help children in Cambodia, there are a lot of children dying due to the poverty and bad sanitations. And we not only need to save them, but to educate them. And although we cannot help all the children, but we have to try our best to do so. So for travel, please go to as many places as you can and bring your children with you, bring a family with you. It would be really nice. And because you guys can enjoy a really happy time. And for cash or like taking care of debts, so all these criterias, write down your detailed plans in the boxes beside. So let's see, take a look at the samples written by a member. So we have to be this specific in order for our dreams to come true. And if you, after you make up this plan, then this kind of line will be visualized in your brain. And it have to be clear, and also you have to believe it. A lot of people ask, isn't like, if by writing such a plan, is it really can make me successful? And let me tell you the answer. The answer is yes. And it was being proved by scientists that as long as you have a clear image in your mind, it will work. Because our body can't really differentiate between what we physically experience and the thoughts within our minds. So actually, we can change our body simply by changing our mindset. For example, let's say I'm giving you a handful of sweet and sour pomegranate, and when you start to crumble and the sweet and sour, sweet and tangy juice burst in your mouth. So what happened to you now? So raise your hand if you didn't salivate. You have to go to hospital. So when we actually eat a fruit or we just imagine eating a fruit, actually our body will react the same way. So if you believe that you can drive a Benz, you can live in a 2,050 square feet house, and you have 500K in your bank account, then your expressions, your posture, your eyesight, everything will change. When people look into your eyes, they will see that confidence within you. And they will want to believe you if you have that confidence within you. When I first gathered the 17 members of Atomy, and I told them this company will unify all the distribution channel and we will become the distribution hub, and we will be the number one MLM company. We will be selling absolute product with an absolute quality and absolute price, and you guys will become successful leaders, and we will become a company that sweeps the entire market. So I said this into the face of those 17 members, and now I couldn't do it because all of you guys know that we are successful. But at that time, the 17 members look at me thinking that I am ridiculous. But still, I did told them this kind of things. And actually, I was driving a 2.8 second-hand car, and I told those people that I will buy them a luxury car when they become a imperial master. Don't you think they'll believe that? No, of course not. So the people that become royal master that you see now, they weren't that smart or they weren't that logical because they believe in me. But for the people who refuse to reject to believe me, although they have this logical mind, they are really rational, but still they are living a poor life. But for the people who did believe in my dream, they are becoming successful leaders now. So our body will adapt to the way we think. So Atomy's Him was a really good product. It can energize you. But however, there's something better than Him, and it's actually money. It is way more effective than our Him. If I told you that I will be putting 30K to your bank account every month, so would you feel as heavy as a rock or as light as a feather when you wake up in the morning? Of course, you will be feeling as light as a feather, right? So basically, our body will change in accordance to our thoughts. So now, one of our company's motto is create a vision. It actually means that you need to manage the vision of your life that you want to live and to create that blueprint, the scenario of that movie. And then we have to follow the faith, which is to believe something that haven't been seen yet. So when you follow the faith, you need to work towards your dreams and standing firm. And it will be easy to live in your dreams when you're in a seminar, but when this moment you leave the seminar, you will suddenly be dragged into the reality again, especially when your husband asks you, "Where did you go?" And then you will suddenly say, "Oh no, I couldn't really earn that much money. I'll be really happy if I can earn just 33K. It will never happen. My dreams will never come true." So this is not good for you. You have to follow the faith, to have this belief in the unseen. As long as you stand firm about your vision, you'll be able to drag your reality to the height of your dreams. So this is the law of success, and this is the only way to succeed. First, create your vision, your dreams, and your goals, and you bring your reality up with you. If before it is impossible because there isn't any tools, but now you have a ladder named Atomy, which will bring you to success. So you have to become a auto sales master to to become live a successful life. And it could really happen in a really short period of time. If you don't know where to start, then don't worry too much, but just do it. Just take actions. If you don't know what to say, just say whatever that comes into your mind. The problem is people don't even try because they think that they cannot convince others. But even if you don't have a good speaking skills, you can still show them, the members, our company's homepage, and they will look it up themselves. So you don't need to be afraid. It's just like learning how to ride a bike. You must fall a few times before you master how to ride a bike. So the main thing is to learn and is to try. So you don't need to ask other about how to do the business or who to learn from. Instead, you can just go directly, straight to the people and ask them, talk to them. And if you cannot answer a question that they ask you, you can come back to the Success Academy and listen to the explanations, listen to how the other successful leaders are explaining things to the others. Then this is how you can learn and you'll be better next time. And there are some people who aren't even able to do this, or they think that they will never be able to do this. But the fact is, if that's the fact, then you must do Atomy, because if you can't do something as easy as this, what else can you do? If you can't do something as simple as Atomy, I bet you never make money anywhere else. So, if you can't speak well, find someone who can speak well to become your partner. Then you can have this team to support you. So, if you don't think you cannot do anything else, then you must do Atomy because you don't have any other options. And we all have to live well for the people we love. As long as you envision the life that you want to live very clearly in your mind, you'll be able to change your reality. It was being scientifically proved, and there are a lot of success experts have taught us this theory. So you need to have this goal that will make you go crazy for it. You need to believe that you can become a successful leader, you will earn a lot, and you will actually willing to do this. And you have to become such a crazy person in order to succeed. As I said, Atomy will become a company that will become the number one in this distribution sector. And actually, we're still in our starting process. And I hope the very best for you. Thank you for listening for this lecture.